Okay, hi y'all. This is Rob again with Gavin.
Hi there.
There he is. And we're doing the third bag of the little bag series of, what does Rob carry with him all the time? What kind of stuff does he have? And this is all just for fun stuff. I mean, there's nothing entirely serious about this, so we're just having some fun with it. So anyway, bag number 3. We did the first 2 already. And for those of you, I'm going to be posting these videos maybe a day apart, maybe a couple of days apart, whatever. I'm not going to just like overload everything all at once. We'll just kind of space them out a little bit. But we're filming them all kind of the same day. Gavin's here helping me. His family's up here too. His mom and my wife had a show that they were doing where they're marketing their hair clips, their business that they've got. And so that's why we get drug up here into the mountains to have to go camping and cooking over the campfire and all that. But, we do what we can. We want to make our people happy, so here we are. Anyway, this seemed a great time up here in scenery like this, and since I'm not getting called off to work, I actually am getting calls, and I'm missing stuff back home, which is not easy on me, but this is a great place to do it, so we're doing it. And so here we go, bag number 3, or as they are titled, how many bandanas has Rob got in this bag? If you hadn't seen the other ones, if you have seen the other ones, you know what I'm talking about. So this one's got some outside pockets. We're going to, this big pocket here is kind of in the way. We're going to start with this flap right here. I expect I know what's going to be in it. And that's something I've been saying too. These bags, some of the stuff I put in here a long time ago and don't remember. Some of the stuff I swap out, take out, reuse, do different things. This is a cool story right here. And so partly it's going to be a surprise of what's going to be in here. Kind of like this guy right here. The year my wife and I, Christy and I, got married, we knew that that was going to be one of our best chances to get to do a trip that we wanted to do. And we went up to Alaska. We were living in Breckenridge, Colorado at the time. And we drove up to Alaska in my old beat-up 1990 four-wheel drive Chevrolet pickup that I used for a snowplow truck up there. And this truck was, this truck had worked hard. And several of my buddies had a pool going that how far we'd make it. Some of them thought we wouldn't make it out of Colorado. Some of them thought we'd never make it to Canada. Almost all of them figured we'd never make it to Alaska, and we dang sure wouldn't make it back home without my pickup just keeling over and going tires up and being done. I fooled them all. Didn't have a bit of problem. But first stop, of course, we had to go to Cabela's, get some cool stuff. So we drive out of the way over into Kearney, Nebraska, spend the night in Cabela's parking lot. And I will advise you, do not spend the night in the parking lot at Cabela's, because in your sleep, you will think of more things that you need, and you'll find yourself back in the store the next day, which we did. Of all the cool things, we bought some pretty cool stuff while we were there. This is back in the days when I used to have money. I miss my money. Oh well, they say money corrupts. I didn't feel corrupted. The best thing, smartest thing I bought that whole time was this ball cap right here. Now, it doesn't look like much. It's pretty unassuming, and it's pulled down tight because one of my daughters was wearing it. But I bought this thing thinking, it would be handy to have. It's nice and green. It blends in. That's almost open. But the cool thing about this cap is, dun dun dun, it has a bug net on it. Yeah, huh, Gavin? Pretty cool, huh? And this bug net just folds right up over the hat, pretty as you please, with a couple of straps that go up under your arms. And you, me, are protected. This was the smartest thing I got. For any of you that don't know, there are mosquitoes in Alaska. There's mosquitoes in Canada, and it turns out, of course, there's mosquitoes everywhere. Mosquitoes don't like my wife, but I'm too pretty and too sweet, and they won't leave me alone. And if I go out, I'm wearing a mosquito covering in short order. My wife could go outside in a two-piece bikini and probably not get a mosquito bite no matter where we were. I stick my hand out the window and come back in and look like I got measles. Anyway, this thing was great, and so I've got this in here, and I love this bug net, and I don't have it on right, but it doesn't matter. This thing was great. I absolutely loved it. This hat, I could go fishing and just not have to worry as much. So, absolutely, I should have one of these in every bag. All right, I got a pair of leather gloves. These leather gloves have been used once or twice. That's okay. The leather gloves are great. Got a piece of cord. This looks like that same cord that was on that other roll, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Probably just a chunk of that. So I got probably 20 feet of a decent cord here so I can string up whatever I got to do. This video could go long. I'm finding some cool bandana number 1. Bandana number 1. Oh, and it was the 4th of July yesterday, so God bless America, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
All right. This right, I got a roll of paper towels. That's a good thing to have. I'm gonna turn my nose up. I got space blanket. The basic Mylar space blanket and a shoelace. Cool. Bandana number 2. I'm not ashamed. I don't care. Bandana. This is a good tiger stripe camo bandana. That's one of my favorite camo patterns right there.
Wow. Yeah.
Tiger stripe, good stuff. Get out in the woods and hide with that. Put that over my head, they'd think it was some headless guy out there walking around. So anyway, I got that. Alright. This tarp right here. This, without spreading it out, this is a Eureka trail tarp. Just that real thin nylon. I bet I bought this trail tarp before I bought this pistol. In fact, I know I did. I've had this trail tarp I've had nearly 40 years. If we folded it out, you would see some corners that are frayed and some rip spots. I cannot begin to tell you how many nights I have camped in this thing. Well, I like to, maybe while we're here, I'll set this thing up and just show you the most common way I use this. I've camped in Paladero Canyon. I've camped in the mountains in New Mexico, the mountains in Wyoming, the mountains in Colorado. I can't even begin to tell you where all I've used this. I have camped many nights under this tarp. And the smell, it has a smell. Here, I'll let Gavin smell that so he'll know. But I'm telling you, it has a smell that when I open this thing up, I think outdoors. I think camping and being somewhere cool that I may not see anybody for 2 or 3 days. This little background on this, and this, I don't know how it fits in, but it just think of when I was a little kid, we'd go camping with my dad, whether it was in the backyard, front yard, outside of town, wherever we'd go. We didn't use a tent. I didn't sleep in a tent. I take it back. I had a little pup tent that my parents got me that I'd sleep out with in the backyard sometimes. It's a little one-man, no floor, no front, kind of a tent that I could set up just because it was kind of cool. But when I would go, kind of cool, when I would go camping with my dad, we didn't take a tent. We might have a big old blanket that we'd throw on the ground and then roll our sleeping bags out on that. But I learned to look at satellites, and I learned constellations, and I learned which way the moon traveled and what it did laying out on the ground at night. With my dad. And my dad's still here, but he's not up here with it. My dad's older, and so he doesn't get to come camping as much now. The altitude and breathing bother him, but that's, I gotta keep moving. We're gonna have to shut this down. My dad. Anyway, trail tarp. So we're good there. Alright, what else we got? Trash bag, which we've talked about. Trash bag has multiple uses, lots of things you can do. Tactical survival whistle with somewhat accurate thermometer, which says it is, I don't think this one's very accurate. This one says it's only 70 degrees. You know, that might be right. It's not. It ain't 70. I think it's just been in here and it's cooler. I bet we'll leave this sitting out a little bit. It's supposed to be a compass right there, but I know which way north is. If it gets dark, like I just said, constellations, if it gets dark, I know which way north is, and I can point a stick there, so if I can't see it at night, when I wake up the next day, I'll be like, oh yeah, there's north right there, with the old alert whistle. Nope. Just me. We got neighbors in the campground. Some girl think I was whistling at her. Alright, so anyway, whistle. My girls all have one of these. Not as much now because they're older, but when they were little, my girls had a whistle. One of the little orange ones that has the compass on it and the match safe and the whistle there, and they all had that and carried it with them. And they all had a little first aid kit because I'm that guy. I am that dad. I got toilet paper because Staff Sergeant Badass said someday in the end of the world, I'm going to be the only guy that still has toilet paper, so come see me, you know why. And I have a knife, and this is another cool knife. This could be a long video because this bag is full of things that have stories. Look how much I wore this knife. I wore this knife
Ready, it's going.
Alright, well, turns out Wes S. was right. Wes did a video here a while back where he said these stupid things need batteries, and if they say low battery, you're supposed to believe them. So we did. So anyway, what I was doing, I was talking about this knife here and this little story on it. But this knife I have fixed and repaired and worn out. I bought this thing, I don't know how many of y'all are old enough to remember, it may not be an age thing, maybe a place thing, to remember trading stamps. Used to, if you bought gas, if you bought groceries, wherever you went, one of the incentives to buy groceries or gas at a certain place were these things called trading stamps. And there was S&H green stamps, and there were gold bond stamps, and Scotty, I can't remember what they were called, just different kinds of things, and you'd collect the trading stamps and then be able to trade them in for things that they had in their catalogs. And this knife was one of the things I got with trading stamps back in the early 80s. And this was my all-the-time carry knife. It was kind of a cool little pretty knife. I didn't think it was that great of a knife when I first got it, but I needed a good belt knife, and I had this one. And one of the things I like about this knife is that I would carry it like this, pull it out, and open it like that, and be ready to rock and roll just in a moment. And there were several times this was a handy thing to have. I used to not always hang out with the most savory people in the most savory places and all that, and so anyway, none of that really matters, but I've got a good knife here. It holds a nice little edge. It's great for cutting. It's an Imperial knife, and I don't know if y'all remember Imperial. That was a great knife company. And so anyway, we got that. I had to quit carrying this one all the time because it got to where the lock wasn't holding as well, and so it wasn't as safe as it might have once been. I just used it that much that I wore it down. So anyway, all that to say, I got a knife in here. That was one of the things we've got. Knife and some toilet paper in the same little plastic bag. I'm sure there's a reason. Sometimes I think maybe the good Lord leads me to do things, although historically there's been some things that I'm pretty sure it wasn't the good Lord that led me to do. Alright, so we got that. Now, we got a little wind coming here. In fact, I hear it sprinkling now. I don't know if y'all can hear that. So we're getting a little afternoon mountain shower here. Now, this right here is going to be kind of cool. I know what this is, and actually Gavin and I saw this earlier. We were looking at something and he just happened to reach in and pull this out, or I did, somebody did. Yeah. And we found a really cool paper, no, we didn't find a cool paper towel. There's a paper towel in there though. But what we found is a little Strike-A-Lite kit. It's a little flint and steel kit. And while Gavin and I were out here working earlier, building, I was teaching, sort of teaching, helping him get better at building a fire using a piece of flint and a piece of steel, showing him how to make char cloth and how to use that. We were talking about a certain striker piece of steel that I had, and I didn't know where it was, and it turned out to be right here, and it made me really, really happy to find this guy. Not that I can get it out of the thing yet, but with a piece of steel and a piece of flint, you can get sparks. Whoops, a piece of char cloth there. That would have been bad, wouldn't it? Hit that with a piece of, cover that guy up. But anyway, you get the idea though. You get sparks. And so we were using a piece of a file. Anyway, this Anyway, this is just some char that we made, or that I made at some point. So, in a little snooze, a little snuff tin, camel snooze, and so I'm going to put that guy back in there. And this is probably going to get relocated into my Strike-A-Lite bag, which I have carried for years and years. It's got char cloth and little pieces of flint and some other piece of steel and things like that in here. And so this was made by my cousin Scott, Cousin Iron Bear, or Cousin Spoon, depending on what part of life you know him in. But he made this for me 30 years ago and gave to me, back when we used to do our mountain man buckskin kind of stuff. So, I'm going to do a little rearranging, but something to build a fire with. Always good to have. I'm going to stick this guy back in here. The reason I keep this in a plastic bag is because that little char can does have a hole in it, and wet char just doesn't work as well as good dry char. So anyway, put these guys right over here. Now, next items. Another little fire making kit. This is something my wife is cool. She comes up with stuff like this all the time. She's always on the lookout for little stocking stuffers, things like that. This guy right here is a little Strike-A-Lite kit. There's a deal in here. If I can open it up, I'll pull out my Swiss Army knife. Okay. Here, this is, everybody talks about their everyday carry EDC stuff. little Swiss Army knife right here is my EDC. I've always got this guy. But unscrew this guy here, and there's some tinder in there and some stuff to help get a fire lit. And the other component of this is this part here on top, which works good with char cloth. The little striker here with a little sort of a wick or whatever. I'm not real sure what that's for, but it's a little ferro rod built into it. That's a pretty good little shower of sparks right there. So, cool thing to have. I'll put that guy back together, and that's what's in pocket number 1. We already opened up flap number 1. Put that guy back there. Here's another knife case I've worn out. I'll show you this guy here. This is what I carry. This is an old Western knife. The knife that a guy gave me, and I've had to repair this one several times, and now the snap, you snap it, but it comes right back open again. I'm going to lose my knife. Then I can go buy another one, right, Kevin?
Yeah.
Gavin says right. Got a carabiner here. Not a climbing carabiner, just to hold stuff on. Alright, down inside here, what do we got? We got, oh, this is a Guatemalan hat. I don't know if it's made in Guatemala. I'm not even going to look. I looked. It doesn't say. Anyway, we talked about hats earlier. Hats are a good thing to have. This one, I can tuck the flap up under and have a basic hat, or I can snap the sides up to kind of keep it out of the way. But it's also got the back neck flap, so I can be styling like that. So I've got a hat. Good to have. I have got, I don't know what that is. Oh, I do know what that is. Oh, yeah.
Canteen?
Yeah, basic GI canteen with a cup that you can cook with.
Ah.
Yeah, even got a handle on it back there. You can boil water, make soup, whatever in this guy. And this canteen right here is just practically indestructible. Yeah, I'll tell you a climbing story one time. This is the canteen I had on it. It came off and hit and didn't hurt it, but that's a pretty good story. Anyway, so we got a canteen and something to heat water or cook in. So that's good to have. I'm going to be disappointed. I don't have a water filter in here, Gavin. Doesn't seem like, but I mean, I know I've got 2 or 3 in every vehicle. Basic pistol belt.
I didn't know that's what that was.
Yeah, pistol belt. I think this in past life was for carrying a tool pouch back when I used to carry tools all the time. I got a retention strap. I got a shoelace. This right here is probably something. Oh, you know what? This was in here in case I needed to strap something else onto the outside. That's what that's for.
More toilet paper.
More toilet paper. More toilet paper. There was a video, Gavin, you haven't seen, where Staff Sergeant Badass said that Rob's going to be the last guy with toilet paper someday, and I don't think he even knew, but he just kind of threw it out there for fun. He was just creating a scenario, and turns out he may have been right. So there's that guy. And Staff Sergeant Badass, for everybody that doesn't know, that's Step 1 Survival. If you hadn't checked his channel out, you should. He's got some pretty cool stuff on there. Him and his wife. Oh, another, the old pink strap. This right here, this is probably more sentimental than anything that's in there. When I used to do a lot of backpacking, the old Kelty backpack I had did not have a chest strap across between the two, and I figured out if I took this guy and put it in there and cinched it up a little bit, that kept the shoulder straps a lot more comfortable. So I've got that. This bag right here is just kind of a catch-all bag, and that's all that's right there. There's another little pocket here. Feels like I got a couple of trash bags there, and another Ziploc bag. Ziploc bags are handy to have.
Yeah.
I mean, you're going backpacking trips or you're out somewhere like that, you never know. I mean, you never know what you might come up with that you want to put in a Ziploc bag to keep it dry, or if you got something wet to keep everything else from getting wet, you can put it in there. They're handy to have. They weigh nothing. And of course, the trash bags, which are, these are smaller ones, but they're still.
Yeah, they still work.
Yeah, I can't overstate how good it is to have a trash bag. So anyway, because of getting sentimental thinking about my dad a while ago, and then different things in here having some really cool, kind of cool stories to me anyway, memories and stuff. This may have gone a little bit longer than it should have, but there you go. There's bag number 3. All we got left now is the man purse and the rifle case, and we'll be out. So altogether, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different things we'll be talking about, and I bet y'all will be tired of listening to me talk by then, and so many of you may not make it past number 2, but they'll be up there just in case. Anyway, thanks for watching, and this is kind of fun stuff. and we'll see what we come up with next. So, cheers.